I love watching the tornadoes just wreak havoc. 3 of them on the board. All opponents getting slowed significantly. His attack speed went from 1.3 to 3.8. I'm not sure if you saw that. G'day, Josh here with a Chess Rush video, playing some Turbo Duo this time round. You see that my partner in this game is Ark Corvus. And if you ever do want to jump into a Turbo game, make sure you have added me in-game firstly. You can see my username there, same as my channel name, just with no space. And if I send you an invite, make sure you hit that accept button, because I just might end up making a video out of it, like this game here. We do end up winning this game, as like most of my build videos. It ends up being a pretty positive result. And this is a very, very fun build. Now, those that have followed the channel for a while might remember a Freeze Mage video that I did a few seasons ago, inspired by a Freeze Mage deck that I used to play in Hearthstone, but essentially rocking sorcerers and abilities and items in this game that allow you to freeze enemies. So that's where the name Freeze Mage comes from, and this one ends up working out pretty well. We do have a slight awkward phase in the middle, but it's not too bad, and obviously we get the result in the end. You see that currently I've already got 3 sorcerers on the board. And how do we do in our first PvP round? It's looking pretty positive so far. Having some early cyborgs is pretty strong in the current meta as well. You can see there that I'm already freezing enemies, so I just have to check which item that is on. I think it's on Banger. Yes, I've already got an icicle bow, and basically this item is one of, if not the most powerful items in the current turbo meta. So you really want to be hoping that you get lucky and that you get the short bows, and then upgrading them to the icicle bow. Now, I think it's worth also noting that I misplayed this specific game, and you see it here. I shouldn't have an icicle bow at round 4. The reason for that is I've combined 2 short bows into that icicle bow, but if I was to wait later in the game when I get the blacksmith tool, as I just remove a beard hair from my mouth, I apologize for that. If I was to wait later into the game, I could use those 2 short bows with 2 blacksmith tools and then have 2 icicle bows. So with your OP items, you do not want to combine them naturally. You want to save them for the blacksmith tool. That is specific to turbo, of course. And then later in game, you'll have 2 of the game-breaking items as opposed to 1 of them. So definitely keep that in mind. I'm also thinking about doing a turbo item video, essentially going through and rating and giving some tips on all of the items and what you should be upgrading, and specific cases that you want to maybe consider something else and things like that. So if you're interested in that, please leave a comment down below so I can gain some interest. And let's continue on and watch the mid-game results. I now have 4 cyborgs, 3 sorcerers. Very handy having 4 cyborgs in the mid-game. That can be a pretty good early and mid-game combo. And with the way that they've been reworked, they can actually be pretty good in the end game as well. I can't actually remember what my end game build is. I don't think I end up getting the 6 cyborgs for this particular game. It's not necessarily, this isn't necessarily a build video, so to speak. More a really fun interaction with some items and some heroes. And so I wouldn't necessarily recommend going for this exact build that I end up with. But something like it, especially if you get lucky with items, can be very, very powerful, whether you're playing solo or duo. So you can see now, 5 sorcerers, 3 humans, 2 cyborgs, 2 dragons. So it's definitely a very interesting build at this stage. Let's jump to the round 8 battle and see what that does for us. At this stage, I am, of course, still undefeated, as is Corvus. So we're sitting pretty on top of the leaderboard. But this is up against another sorcerer build, and it's not looking good, and it will be our first loss, unfortunately. So let's jump through to when we actually have 3 dragons now at round 10, but that is a creep round. We're gonna look for, actually let's see how we go with we had 6 sorcerers temporarily. I'm not sure whether we did or not at this point in time. Sometimes the replay since the update slightly glitches every now and again. You can see there it's showing I've got 7 out of 9 heroes on the board. I do actually have 9 heroes on the board. I think I do actually have 6 sorcerers too, but It's not showing. Yeah, I do have 6 sorcerers. So it's just the replay being a little bit buggy, which did cause some confusion. You see there that I'm currently at. I don't have 4 dragons. That's a mistake. There we go. There we go. That's what the build looks like at the moment. 6 sorcerers, 4 humans, 3 dragons, 2 Eastern. And that is a level 9 build, so you don't need to be level 10 to get there. It only requires 9 heroes on the board. You can do it. Actually, no, my mistake. I'm doing that because of the Sorcerer's Staff. So normally it would require level 10, but I've been able to cheat it a little bit using a class item, the Sorcerer's Staff there. So I do have a 6th human sorcerer on the board. Well, actually, it's a 4th human sorcerer once I've got Lightbringer. I don't think I have Lightbringer yet, though. No, I don't. So it's useful giving it to General of War because the human ability gives him the chance to recast, and the sorcerer means it's doing extra damage. So just a nice matching there. You could also theoretically throw it on Venom because he is a dragon and instantly casts, so it will do more damage that way as well. You can see that I do have a blacksmith tool in my item chest there as well. Now let's jump through. So actually, no, while we're waiting, you can see there that we've got the icicle bow. Fantastic, fantastic item. Touched on earlier. I've touched on in earlier videos, if not this one. I can't actually remember whether I mentioned it at the start of this video or not. But essentially, very, very good item. And because Dragoon does splash damage when transformed, and because she's rocking we've got 3 dragons, she transforms instantly. She has a chance to stun, and you'll see this. She has a chance to stun all heroes that get splash damage, as well as the one that she's targeting. Unfortunately, a bit unlucky. This particular one, there we go. Hog Rider gets stunned there. No splash stuns just yet. Sometimes you get a bit unlucky. That's just the case. That's the way this game works. RNG is a big part of it. Hog Rider's getting lots of stuns there, though. And we do fairly comfortably win this round. That's one of the important items. We've also got Frost Lotus, who does... her ability does a slow. It doesn't say it here, but it does... Maybe I'm misremembering that. Maybe that was from an earlier season where she actually did had a slowing effect to enemies as well. That might no longer be the case. But her theme, Frozen Storm, definitely aligns, and the fact she's a sorcerer definitely aligns with Freeze Mage. So there's no problems there. Obviously, General of War has a stun. That's a big part of it. So very, very nice. And we end up finding, I haven't found them yet, but we do end up finding the Dark Mage as well. And he's the only sorcerer. No, there's Joey as well. He's one of 2 sorcerer legendaries, but his ability is incredibly strong. And he comes in very, very handy in this specific Freeze Mage build as well. So let's go through, and where do we find him? I haven't found him just yet. I am now, of course, at level 10. So I do have the ability to throw someone else on the board. Joan of Arc, probably not the call. I think at this stage I was thinking about trying to get to 6 humans, hoping I could get another Sorcerer's Staff so I could run 6 humans as well, which is why I've also got Lancelot on the bench. That doesn't eventuate. So let's go through round 17. Now I have, I've upgraded. I think I got rid of Miss Supersonic there. And now I've got a Dark Mage. I've got a second Dark Mage on the bench, which is fantastic. The right play, obviously, right now would be to sell off that Joan of Arc and throw either probably the Dark Mage or at least Sanzang, but Dark Mage I would suggest at this stage, which I do just in time before the battle starts. And let's see how this one does for us now that we've got 2 Dark Mages on the board. I'm down to 24 HP, and look at the freezes that are coming out of Dragoon and the slow. So Dark Mage definitely has a slow with his Tornado ability. Unfortunately, it's not enough to overcome the summoners of the 3-star Joan of Arc there is pretty strong. So as we skip through to the next round, I will just click on Dark Mage and show you his ability for those that haven't seen it. Fires a Nightmare Blast at 1 random enemy. The blast bounces between enemies within 4 squares of the original target and deals magic damage each time. And also, each bounce reduces the target's attack speed by 65 for 2.5 seconds. And just like that, I have a 2-star Dark Mage on the board, which is very, very nice. And let's see if we have any better results this specific round. And we've still got 6 of us alive, so it's the late game. Certainly people that are low on HP. Look at that Dark Mage damage as he jumps up don't see him jump up that high up the DPS, but often he will. Often he will be up the top of the DPS charts. But I've got a fair few heroes in this specific build that are pumping out a chunk of damage. Now, having that on, having the Frost Mage on the Icicle Bow, sorry, on the Dark Mage would also be another nice addition there as well. So you can see that I've also got on Dragoon Throwing Blade, so she's targeting the lowest HP enemy, and she's also got Lone Wolf's Helm. So I'm trying to keep her alive as long as possible, doing as much damage as possible, which is why she is doing so much DPS. I now have another 1-star Dark Mage on the board as well. So we're running many Dark Mages, and let's see how we go this round up against another Sorcerer build, a human Sorcerer build. How does the 2 Dark Mages work for us? Not that well, unfortunately, because he has Lightbringer and we don't, which is very disappointing. I don't think I ended up finding Lightbringer this particular game at all. I think I ended up, unluckily, she is part of my featured hero set. I just couldn't find her. Now, I also think that I did lose that round, but obviously in duo, you can get brought back to life by your partner, which is a part of the way the game works, so no problems there. We jump into round 21, and we're down to 5 of us left. And another 3-star Joan of Arc that I'm now facing. And I've got, if you haven't noticed already, I've got 2-star Dark Mages now. And look at the damage coming out of them. Significantly more than what's coming out of Dragoon. And just like that, we are down to... No, we're still at 5. Someone got brought back to life, no stress. Round 22. I love watching the tornadoes just wreak havoc. 3 of them on the board. All opponents getting slowed significantly. His attack speed went from 1.3 to 3.8. I'm not sure if you saw that. That means that Scourge was attacking 1 time every 3.8 seconds. That is very slow. And that is essentially being stunned for a couple of seconds. That is what that is doing, which is awesome. So having multiple 2-star Dark Mages on the board is incredible. In fact, it might even be better than having 1 3-star Dark Mage. So this is kind of fun. Because I was able to get the 6 Sorcerers by using the Sorcerer's Staff, it allows me to run 2 2-star Dark Mages on the board. And now we are down to 3 of us. Me and my partner Corvus, who is, for those that are curious, is also running a Sorcerer build. I'm just running a slightly different variant of a Sorcerer build, and you can see that it matches up very well against the Sorcerer build of Julio, the one surviving enemy. And look at the, once again, the damage coming out of both the Dark Mage and Dragoon, and the stuns and the slows and the freezes, and there is a very nice game win. And let's find that one just down here, and there is the end game build for you to look at. Lots of sorcerers in this specific lobby, and lots of people running 3 dragons as well. We just decided to pair the 2, and it worked out very well for us, along with those 2 2-star Dark Mages. Let me know if you have experienced any builds, whether it's yourself or you run into them where just your entire board or the entire enemy's board just seems to get frozen for the entire game. It's pretty OP at the moment. Leave a comment down below if that is something you've experienced. Give a thumbs up to the video if you like it. Hit that sub button if you haven't already. Helps my channel grow, and it means you don't miss out on any of my future content. And until next time, I'll see you later.